Hello, my name is Thor Olson, and this video submission is for MBA 732 International Political Economy. Specifically, this submission will cover chapters 5 and 6 of our text, The Geography of the World Economy. Um, Chapter 5 deals with the evolution of the core regions, which are the regions that currently include the most industrialized nations: United States, European nations, etc. Each of these regions has a history um, that led them to the point of the industrialization, the level that they're at now. Um, and that is actually my first takeaway. Um, this book gave me a much more detailed account of the history or histories of industrialization. I think our quick history lessons, of our childhood had us or led us to believe that there was this natural progression, from the industrialization, the historical beginning of the industrialization, the Industrial Revolution of the United Kingdom, up until Fordism and the United States' version of the industrialization. The fact is, there's a great deal of time between the two events. There's a great deal of activities that happened in Europe at that time, including, as the book mentions, the three waves um, that truly pretty much laid the groundwork and gave structure to future industrialization transitions around the globe, including our own. So essentially, for a long time, the industrialization was growing and maturing for many, many years before it seemed to take off around the world and taking the same form as what we saw in Europe. Another takeaway from Chapter 5 is something that you kind of have to read between the lines. But unfortunately, war had a large effect on the growth of industrialization in both the United States and in Japan, among other places. These effects are at times positive and at other times negative. For example, in the United States, both wars fueled industry. As wartime needs warranted, the industry stepped it up and had a growth spurt. And both times the U.S. returned home victorious from war, which allowed the United States to be there ready to fill the industrial void left by the members of the losing sides. So war definitely helped spurt United States industry. And in Japan's case, they also had an industrial boom by supplying nations' needs during World War One. And then, of course, we all know in World War II, Japan was on the losing end of that effort, and their industry was essentially destroyed thanks to their defeat in World War II. And it truly was a miracle, the book actually mentions it, that Japan rebuilt so quickly after World War II. I think the book talked about 5 years later they were already turning profit and production. I guess that kind of shows you, Japan's true might as an industrial nation. But either way, you can kind of see how war fuels industry. We can kind of even see that today, right now, with our wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And a lot of the job creation, and I'm sure profit being made by the industry, or the military industrial complex that we hear so much about. But yeah, anyways, that's chapter 5. Now moving on to chapter 6 briefly. It deals with the globalization of the economic activities, or as the book says, a shift in what they produced, how they produced it, and most importantly, where they produced it. As the world became more interconnected, it became more economical to perform some activities abroad as part of overall cost savings in certain situations. the fact is, the opportunity was there like it had not been before because the economy has become more interconnected. Um, and then one of my final takeaways from this chapter is a section on the evolution of the transnational corporate activity. It's interesting to see the various phases that the transnational corporations go through, from investment in just raw material to fully immersed in the global economy. It is interesting to see the raw breakdown of job creation for some of these companies. Like the book talks about, GE added 30,000 jobs while at the same time reducing 25,000 jobs in the United States. Then they talk about Nike selling their U.S. and U.K. Plants and redistributing this workload throughout their cheap labor regions of the world. These examples just kind of show how the growing global economy has shifted away from the quality jobs into the low-cost production. It seems overall jobs across the world may be on the increase, but good coordination jobs are disappearing, and I think that's just a result of the global economy and something that may need addressed. But yeah, that's my takeaway from chapters 5 and 6. I appreciate it. Thank you.